Hello, this is day 53. Yes, day 53. Let's go. Oops.
Se han generado súbditos.
No.
puedo evitarlo. Lo siento.
generado súbditos. Se han generado súbditos.
¡Estoy aquí! ¡Qué buen día!
Se han generado súbditos.
Quiero divertirme y hablar con alguien que no sea yo misma. Pero se me da muy bien escuchar.
Se han generado súbditos.
Será divertido. ¡Divertidísimo!
Se han generado súbditos.
¿Quieres hacer algo? ¿Deberíamos hacer algo?
Se han generado súbditos.
Me llamo Joel. ¿Y tú?
Se han generado súbditos.
¡Qué gracia cuando finges que la magia te hace daño!
Se han generado súbditos.
¡Tú la llevas! ¡Que te la llevas!
Generado súbditos.
What?
Se han generado súbditos.
¿Que si te quieres jugar a esto?
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Shock. Today we're doing our mid lane farming guides. This is going to be the first of the mid lane fundamentals guides that I'm going to do. And the reason I'm starting with farming is I think farming is the most fundamental thing of all the fundamentals. It's the most important, and it kind of sets the tone for everything else in the game. So in this video, we're going to mainly talk about how to just get more farm in general throughout the game. We're going to go through the early game and the mid game specifically. And while this will be a guide mainly for mid laners, the early game will be applicable to pretty much all the farming roles, so mid, top, and ADC. And the mid game, I would say, will be applicable to both mids and tops. And I will speak a little bit about AD carries in the mid game, just in case any of you are playing that off role or there are AD carries watching this video. So let's get straight into it. So we're going to start out with going over CSing in the early game and everything you need to know for that. But the first thing you need to know is that when I'm talking about the early game, I'm talking about the first 15 minutes of the game. And the second thing you need to know about the early game is just how much CS you're actually missing. So if you don't miss a single CS by 10 minutes, you can have 114 CS like I have here. So the way you can just, if you want to test this for yourself, just pick any champion and practice tool, make sure you get all the CS. I did Aurelia because she's really hard to miss CS on. And look at those 10 and 15 minute mark benchmarks, and you'll see it was 114 CS at 10 and 177 CS at 15. So you can see there is actually quite a lot of CS to be had anyway, and you can actually miss quite a few. Obviously you are going to miss some from basing and fighting and stuff like that, but I just want to kind of contextualize for you guys how much CS is actually on the map, because I think some people don't realize just how much CS they're actually missing. Before we get into actually how you get more CS, we first need to look at all the ways people lose CS, because I find this is the one that people struggle with a lot more. There's so much CS kind of missed for pretty much no reason at all. So the first kind of concept I want to teach you guys is the concept of a turn. If you watch Competitive League, you might have heard of this before, but it essentially means every time you push a minion wave, it gives you time, or it gives you one turn to do something. So a good way to think about this is every time you push in this minion wave, the enemy mid has to farm at a tower, and more importantly, you don't have a wave to farm. You've got nothing to farm. What that means is you have this short window in which you can do something, and the way I like to think about it is that you get one turn to do one thing. So you can do, so for example, you can push the wave and you can recall, you can push the wave and you can roam, you can push the wave and you can do jungle camps, right? There's lots of things you can do with your one turn. The one thing that people do wrong is that they try and do too much in their one turn. So for example, if you push this wave and you walk bot, and then you base without pushing another wave, you've done two things with your one turn, and that's taken so much time that you'll likely miss the next wave. So one thing I want you guys to kind of get into the habit of doing is every time you push a minion wave in, that gives you one turn with which you can do one thing. And if you're doing any more than one thing, that's probably greedy. So let's get into an example. I push in this wave, and that's going to give me one turn to do something. So with my turn, I decide to walk bot. And if you pay attention to kind of the mid minion wave at this point, you'll see that there's nothing for me to CS, and the Yone is stuck under his tower. So I walk down bot, and despite this being a failed roam, Lux already flashed away from the Twitch before my R even got there, because I used my turn effectively, I'm actually going to be able to walk back mid and not lose any CS, even though I roamed. If I'd done two actions there, if I had warded and then roamed, if I'd warded and then based, if I'd roamed and then based, I would have missed this minion wave. This is probably the most common way I see that people miss CS, is they roam at bad times, they base at bad times, which we will go a bit more into, the base timings. But even diamond players, I see they're just roaming at really, really random times, and they're using their turns really poorly. Another thing I'm going to say is that you get more time on your turn the faster you push the wave and the further up you clear it. So if you notice, if we go actually back to this roam here, you can see that when I leave the lane, I'll wait for this to disappear. Okay, so when I leave the lane, my minion wave is at my tier 3 tower. That means I have a ton of time on my turn to actually do stuff. Compared to if you push the wave later, you don't get as much time, and you'll likely lose minions every time you move like that. So you can see another example here. I actually catch the wave as far up as I can. That's going to give me more time, and you can see I've basically half cleared this wave before my wave has even touched it, and that's going to give me even more time to use on my turn. And I think here I'll probably just go for the plate and base. So now that I've explained terms, let's quickly look at this example of Chovy. So this is going to be an example of kind of the ideal base timing that you're looking for, and also how to use your turns. So the second most common way that, like aside from misusing their turns, that I see is people doing really poor base timings. So obviously the best time to base is when you're not going to lose any creeps for it, and generally that will be when either you can push the enemy mid under their tower and they have to base while losing a wave. Alternatively, there are a few other ways you can do it, like you can base before a cannon wave, but we'll go over those examples later. For now, we're just going to look at this. So after pushing this wave, Chovy starts his base but realizes there's a pink ward here, so he's using his turn to clear this pink ward, and he no longer has the opportunity to base. Manages to get the ward down, so that's his one turn used up. He's come over and gotten this honey fruit, and you can see he doesn't have time for anything else. He has to go back to this wave because it's meeting on the minimap. So he comes in, and he's going to push this wave. So far, I don't think he's missed any CS during this time, but you can see that the enemy Vex is getting pretty low on mana. So what that means is eventually here, she is going to run out of mana, which means Chovy is going to get that base by forcing her to base first. So after pushing that wave, Chovy elects to use his turn on farming the enemy camps. We are going to go over that a bit more later in the video, but for now, I just want you to pay attention to how he's using his turns, how every time he's not losing any CS for it, and how this base timing is going to go. You can see the Vex has been forced to base. She's run out of mana, which means Chovy gets to push in this wave and not lose any CS if he bases immediately after. You can see he pushes this as fast as possible. His minion wave just passed his own tier 3 tower. You can see I'm speeding up here. When he comes back to lane, he doesn't miss a single CS. So that's like your ideal base. I actually did miss one from CSing poorly, but that's your ideal base, guys. If you can force the enemy mid to base first, generally that'll mean that you won't miss any CS if you base immediately after. That's kind of your basic base timing, but let's look into a couple others. So as I was saying before, I feel like most people kind of lose CS using their turns badly or basing at bad times. The base we just talked about before, where you make the enemy mid base first, is very easy to do if you're in a winning matchup. But if you're in a losing matchup, it's actually quite a bit more difficult. The first thing that you can do, if you are in a losing matchup, I normally do recommend taking TP, and it's really just for this reason. We're not going to go too in-depth into it because it's really basic, but you can see by the time I'm basing here, the wave is already coming to the mid wave. So if you go back and look at the previous example, every time Chovy was basing, the minion wave was only just passing his tier 3 tower, it wasn't in the middle. So if I weren't going to TP mid here, I would at least lose the cannon and probably the 2 melees as well. So that's quite a lot of CS to lose, basically just because of your matchup. So importantly, guys, it is going to be harder to get favorable bases in more difficult matchups, but taking TP is one way that you can do that. There are obviously other bases other than this, for example, setting up a freeze before you base, but I think these are more to be covered in like my laning guide, which will be coming next. So I kind of want to save that for then, but these three, I think, are the ones that are going to increase your CS the most, and definitely the places where I see even like relatively high level players losing a lot of CS for free. So the last base timing that I think is really useful for keeping up your CS, particularly in lanes where it's quite difficult for you to get the push. So take this lane for example, I'm playing LeBlanc versus Lee Sin. Lee Sin's got a lot of wave clear and I'm very low health here. So what you can do is you can actually base when the cannon wave is coming. So I don't have TP and I haven't managed to push the wave in. And what this means is that the tower is going to take a long time to clear this cannon wave, which is going to allow you to get most of the CS. So you can see that even though I based really late here with the wave already in the middle of the lane, by the time I get to lane, I'm only going to have missed a couple creeps, which is pretty damn good considering like you're kind of essentially behind in this situation, and you're being forced to base at an unfavorable time. You can see here I missed two melee creeps, which died at the tower, but I managed to get all the other CS on the wave, and that's a really big win. So one thing, this is a really good base timing, especially if you're in a losing matchup or your base just gets like, your base timing gets like ruined for some reason. So keep that in mind, guys. The three bases that will help you stop missing CS. One, you can push the wave and make sure the enemy bases before you do. Two, you can just base in TP. And three, if you base before a cannon wave, you're not going to miss as many creeps when they come back to lane. So guys, as we were saying before, a lot of CS is lost due to poor roam timings. I think one thing that people kind of misunderstand is they think you have to choose between CSing or roaming, and that's not really the case. I think most people that think this, they just roam at poor times. So we're going to look at the ideal roaming scenario, which is kind of similar to the ideal basing scenario. So basically, you want to have the wave pushed all the way in around about when your wave is, like when your wave that's just spawning is passing your tier 3 tower. Same as basing. So you can see in the minimap here, the wave passing the tier 3 tower, which gives you time, it gives you your turn to allow you to do kind of whatever you want to do on the map. So you can see there, I just stood on the pink and pressured the map, and here I'm going to come push mid and do the same thing again.
Introducing ClickUp Super Agents, the world's first AI agents that natively collaborate with humans. And
now guys, I want to be super clear. These roam timing push mid and do the same thing again. Now guys, I want to be super clear. These roam timings are optimized for CS. Like everything else in this video, we're basically only considering CS. There are of course times where you want to roam without like pushing your wave first. You know, if you see the enemy AD carry on really low HP like this, you might want to roam bot. You know, there are lots of other factors that go into roaming in a real game. Like for example, do they have sums? You know, is the ADC low? Is your jungler on that side? So there's all these other things. So I don't want you to think these are the only times you can roam, because you can see in this video here, I'm roaming basically when my wave is not at my tier 3 tower. And so this, in terms of this video, is not an optimal timing to roam. So I'm not going to go fully in depth into the roam timings. All I'm saying, guys, is for CSing optimally, you want to make sure you roam basically after pushing your wave, and ideally if you can make sure that your wave hasn't even passed the tier 3 tower yet. We've kind of covered the main ways that people lose CS in the early game, but what are actually getting more CS? So the first thing I want to talk about is positioning kind of like close to the minions. The reason this is good is the closer you position to minions, the faster your auto attack animation is going to come out. This is really important when you're playing champs that have like faster your auto attack animation. This is good is the closer you position to minions, the faster your auto attack animation is going to come out. This is really important when you're playing champs that have like a really long auto windup. So if you take a Nivea for example, even the best players are just going to miss some CS if they CS from max range. You can see here, Nivea's auto attack is very slow. But if you do have the luxury, and I will quickly say, guys, you won't always have the luxury of doing this, because you might get hit by skill shots or you might be too weak in the lane. But if you can, the closer you can stand to the enemy creep, it's going to make your auto attack much quicker and much more responsive. So you can see here, simply put, it's a lot easier to CS when your auto attack animation is that fast, and oftentimes you will see good players when they're winning the lane, not only positioning next to creeps in order to kind of push the enemy off the wave, and you'll see that in my laning videos coming up. But most, like a big part of it is also that it makes that CSing just a little bit easier. You know, if for example you miss, say, let's say you just miss 5 due to like bad right clicking every single game, that's an extra 5 you can kind of get rid of. Or rather you can get that extra 5 CS just by positioning a bit closer to the creeps. Again guys, you're not always going to be able to do this, but if you do, it does actually make quite a big difference. So guys, another really good way to get CS is something I like to call method CSing. I just kind of made that up myself because I've never heard anyone talk about it. But basically what I mean is that certain champions have ways that they can kind of CS the wave in the same like method or pattern every time and make sure they get most of the wave. So this is something I learned from watching Chovy a lot. And it applies to quite a few champions, although a lot of the champions are kind of like locked behind a certain level. So in the early game, it'll mainly be about, you know, positioning close to creeps, as we've talked about, your base timing and stuff like that. But when you get to a certain point in the lane, so for LeBlanc, it's level 8, what you can do is you can actually order each of these back creeps once, Q one of these melee creeps, and the other one will be low, and you'll actually be able to get 5 creeps every single wave with 1 W. So I'll show you what I mean. And Q this, order it a bit lower, order that backline, and done. So you can see that when you kind of have this pattern for CSing, it's impossible to miss those CS. Like pretty much there is nothing you can do to miss those CS. I see a lot of people kind of like throwing their spells randomly or just making the kind of wave more difficult to CS than it should be. So I'll show you a couple other examples of this. So Ahri is another champion when you can do this. So at level 6 on Ahri, you can either order the back wave once and then just Q it and they'll all die, or you can, you know, Q the whole wave and order the back wave once. You know, it doesn't really matter which way around you do it. My point is, guys, pretty much, again, there is no way for me to miss these back creeps because they're not being attacked. And actually Ahri has it a bit easier than other champs because if I skip a bit later in the lane, you'll see the Q actually just one-shots the back wave. That's what I mean. Like, a lot of the time, a lot of these champs, especially with wave clear, there are ways that you can, it's not cheesing, but you can just make your CSing quite a bit easier by CSing with a method once you get to a certain point in the lane. And the way that's really useful is because in that way, your actual CSing skill, like your right-clicking skill, pretty much only matters for the first like 6 or 7 minutes of the game, I would say. Give you guys one more example. Ryze is also a champion where method CSing is very, very useful. And this is actually the champion that I learned kind of about this from Chovy, just from watching him. So as Ryze, it actually depends on if it's a cannon wave or not. But if it's not a cannon wave, basically you can just let the melee creeps get low, and then you can CS them with an EQ, and then again you can wait for the range creeps to get to half, and you can do the same thing. Then if we just skip a little bit further ahead after I farm that camp, like a very greedy guy, when this wave comes, all you basically need to do on this wave as Ryze is you just need to do 2 EQs off the cannon, and that'll basically kill all of them. So again, what I'm trying to say, guys, is basically every champion has some sort of method CSing like this. A good way you can learn about it is you can just go and practice to and try it. You can watch some VODs of people playing the champion and pay really close attention to how they CS after that like level 6 mark or so. Or you can just, make one up yourself. It doesn't have to be the same thing every time. You just need to kind of find a way where you can efficiently clear the wave without leaving it not up to chance, but you don't even have to get skill involved. Basically, you don't have to try right click every creep. You can get them to the point where you can just like kill them all with one ability or something like that. As I literally just show you guys, and I showed you in that Chovy example before, another thing you can do to get more CS in the early game is if you have a champ with a lot of wave clear, you can use your turn to farm enemy jungle camps. So if you again look at the map here, my wave is only just passing my tier 3, which means I have a long time to go look at the enemy raptors or scuttle crab or things like that. You don't even have to clear the whole camp a lot of the time. So not every champ can do this, but on quite a lot of champions that have like good wave clear or a lot of push in the early game, you can use your turn in order to get those camps, which is really good. In the early game, you can use your turn in order to get those camps, which is really good. It obviously puts your CS ahead and it takes CS away from the enemy jungler. I wouldn't recommend doing this that much to your jungler in the early game unless they're like on the complete other side of the map. Like if your jungler's ganking top, you could take his raptors, like say it's on blue side, like if Xin Zhao ganks top, you could take Xin Zhao's raptors because it's most likely the enemy jungle will actually counter jungle it. So yeah, again, not applicable to every champ, but some of the champs you can find this to be useful on. So lastly, guys, I'm going to quickly talk about the wave.
Okay. We will. Well, I will keep watching the video next day because it's been already 40 minutes. So I'm gonna play already. Wait, take a look here again. Okay.
on the wave management.
¿Cuentas tus secretos? Prometo que no se los contaré a tu...
Bienvenidos a la dieta del indicador. 30 segundos para los súbditos.
Algo bueno va a ocurrir y tendrá chispitas.
Oh, oops.
Se han generado súbditos.
I didn't mean to ward there. I wanted to ward in the bush. That's... I forgot for a moment that I have like this thing activated. So I didn't hold for it, just clicked.
Si fuese tú una copia, creo que me gustaría. Me gusta mucho.
No. Okay, I wanted to try. What's going to happen if I did that?
Primera sangre. Un enemigo.
Pasito a pasito y ahora un saltito.
Tuesday. What? She has ultimate again? Oh! How did I not hit her? What? Oh my god, I don't think I needed so many things, but I don't know. I was scared. Maybe she had ultimate, maybe who knows. She can use ultimate, no? Oh no, please no. Ah! Okay. Thank you. She stopped using her ultimate. If she didn't stop, I would probably be dead. And I will probably be dead. No? Oh, I missed.
Me gusta todo lo que veo a mi alrededor, como las miniaturas.
Ah! What is going on with my keyboard? I press... What? Dude. I missed my cue? And then I press R? And like... It didn't work. Obviously it was my mistake. I did something wrong, but I don't understand. It's just... I just need to press a key. I don't know how I missed or how it didn't work. I think I got nervous or something and I just mechanical issue. Oh! No! Okay, at least he's dead, right? I knew that Warwick could be coming, but I don't know, dude. I was like, maybe if he comes, I can leave because I have flash and I shouldn't have pushed. Like I should have played safer. You know?
Ha muerto un enemigo.
Dude. Wow, dude, I missed everything. Oh, that hit you? Dude. No.
Un enemigo es imparable. Un enemigo está dominando.
Can I stop missing? Wow. Katarina's coming. Oh no, she's dead still. I lost a bunch of minions, but I'm unable to participate in teamfights without missing CS. Like, I can't.
Pues nos llega el día en el que cumplimos nuestro destino. No, why you shoot her? How am I so bad? What happens to my mouse? Like, why am I missing so much? Am I think I'm not used to have it so low. I'm gonna try like this. No, I'm gonna make this bigger or something. I should have it like this.
Asesinato doble. Ha muerto un enemigo.
don't know, I feel that it is too high now. Oh. Yes, I deserve that. It always happens. When I get confident, I mean, when I don't know, I feel like I'm playing good, which is not the case. Or, I don't know, I feel like, okay, we are winning, I can do whatever I want, let me push the whole lane, it doesn't matter, you know? And I get confident and, well, I get punished, obviously. So, yeah. Because of that I wasn't in the team fight and well, it seems like they are winning, but they could be losing, you know. So I should stop using my right click. I should use my letter A all the time. Again, A. What? Oh my god, I almost miss. Like I almost don't kill him, you know? Oh, okay, they give up. I didn't play good in this game either. I farmed recently, I guess, in early game, but everything, I don't know, everything was so messy. My aim, I don't know what's going on with my aim. They had a lever? Who? Who was he? Oh, this Miss Fortune. Oh, she was AFK or something. I didn't even notice. So yeah, my farm. To be honest, I don't remember if it was good or bad. I think it was decent in early game. Then in mid game, I started to forgot, or not forgot, but basically ignore it more, and started to be in team fights more often, which was, on one hand, it was good, but on the other hand, it made me die more because I wasn't playing safe. Like, I could have played better, and I could have hit more shots, and obviously got I would have been able to kill more people if my shots were more accurate. But I don't know, all in all, I guess it's decent gameplay. You see, 6-9. It's still the best of the whole game, like the best farming of the game among every player, you know. That's a lot of damage taken, I think. I mean, I think I played well against Katarina, apart from, except from some moments, but I was playing safe, at least in early game. And using my E on the dagger, how is it called? Like the thing she throws and then stays on the floor. I used my E there so she couldn't TP, because if she did, she will get stunned. So that was an insane counter, to be honest. I just made it up in the game. So once I started doing that, she couldn't be aggressive, you know. She would have to use flash or something. But I wasn't playing really safe against Warwick, even against Sheriff, because he has a lot of damage and I took him for granted. But I don't know, decent, I'd say. What is this? Are these stuns or what? We all did a lot of damage. I think I got carried by this guy, Kiana, or how is it called? Kiana? Yeah. Anyways, I'm not happy with the game, but I'm not sad or mad. Anyway, so yeah, that's it for today. Tomorrow we'll keep watching that video of farming, and hopefully my aim gets better. I don't know what's missing, but I don't feel comfortable when I queue from afar or I don't know, I get nervous maybe, I don't know. Anyways, that's it. See you tomorrow, and with and I don't know how to say the joke. See you tomorrow, which also is next year. So see you next year. Bye.